Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmaya Yoga. We focus on spirituality, a journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently exploring the book The Art of Positive Feeling, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. In today's satsang, we will be covering a very important topic that affects most of us: anger, krodha. It's known as krodha in Hindi or Sanskrit. Anger or krodha exists in many degrees, ranging from ordinary annoyance to intense, violent rage. Contempt, intolerance, vengeance, and hatred are all inseparably related forms of krodha or anger. Even those who are highly educated and apparently religious suffer from this malady. Like anything else, this is also a disease. Anything that puts us in dis-ease is a disease. If anger, hatred, and revenge were to be taken away from the world, 90% of the movie producers would go out of business. However, for those who want to enjoy the spiritual values of life and to attain true success, peace, and inner fulfillment, these terrible vices need to be eradicated. Otherwise, we will not grow or improve. Nothing is more degrading for an aspirant than to keep his mind burdened with the manifold forms of anger or krodha. They darken the mirror of the mind, dissipate the willpower, create illusions, waste mental energy, intensify negative karmas, promote chaos for oneself and others, and lead one to manifold forms of misery. Every effort must be directed by an aspirant towards the prevention as well as cure of this crippling disease of the astral body. Astral body is the body that we cannot see, our mind, our intellect, our ego, senses, etc. A slave of my slaves. An interesting story is told about Alexander the Great, whose guru was a devotee of Indian philosophy. One day, the guru told Alexander, if you go to India, conquer kingdoms if you must, but of greater importance is visit a sage and, if possible, bring him back with you. When Alexander reached India, he followed the Guru's advice and went to a well known saint and introduced himself quite pompously. The saint didn't say anything, nor bow his head as everyone was supposed to do before the emperor. Alexander said, don't you know that I have conquered most of the world and no one is greater than I? How is it that you don't give me respect? The sage replied, because you are a slave of my slave. What do you mean? Demanded Alexander angrily. I can cut you down with the sword. The sage just laughed. Do you think I'm this body that you can cut down? Alexander became quiet and asked for further explanation of the wise man's words. The sage said, well, you see, anger, hate, and greed are the greatest enemies, and they are my slaves. And you are their slave. So you are the slave of my slaves. What causes krodha or anger? Sometimes there is a certain rationality behind expressions of krodha. Someone has actually hurt you in some way, inflicting injury on you physically or psychologically, and as a result, you feel that the person should receive similar injury. But often people become angry and hateful for no reason at all due to the irrational functioning of intellect. Often, this irrationality stems from psychological impressions gathered in childhood. During your childhood, you may have encountered many deep frustrations, and because of that, many situations stir up memories that cause you to react inappropriately. When one's life lacks a deeper goal, when one has not yet become interested in the project of discovering his or her inner self and of being united with God, one becomes easily bored with life and seeks stimulation. Positive situations can stimulate the nervous system, but they are often hard to create. On the other hand, the mind has devised a way of easily creating negative situations through acts of anger and intolerance, which readily create dissemination and disharmony. The deeper roots of anger are impressions of dislike or dvesha in the unconscious mind, impressions of raga and dvesha, meaning like and dislike, limit one's mental capacity and cause one to become agitated. Due to concentration of consciousness, every frustrating situation makes you feel as if you are surrounded by walls and there is no recourse but to get angry. At such moments, you forget that such situations have come 1,000 times and then have also passed away. Becoming angry never was and never will be an effective and necessary solution. Righteous indignation. Many aspirants make the mistake of justifying their bursts of anger as righteous indignation. This terminology was applied to Jesus' display of anger in a temple. When he saw things were not being done in a righteous way, he threw everything around and showed his displeasure. Similarly, Krishna and Arjuna displayed a righteous and necessary form of anger in the Mahabharata war. Parents too have to become angry at times. If they become absolutely cool and calm, they would not be able to discipline their children. This type of anger is of a special nature and it has its proper place in life. Behind such anger, there is a spiritual purpose, a project of compassion and love, that is, love backed anger. However, an aspirant should not confuse this issue and justify every bout of anger as righteous indignation. Most angry situations are not righteous indignation. If your anger is truly purposeful, it will not deeply agitate your mind. It will not disturb the placidity of your reason. You will not lose your power of observation nor your balance. Righteous anger is like a knife used by a skillful chef. You wield it to cut the vegetables, but you do not cut your fingers. When anger gets out of hand, expressions of krodha or anger begin within your own heart, but eventually affect not only your family but all your relationships. They spread out into society, affecting many people like sparks that led to a conflagration of fire. A Hindi poet once said, Avat gari ek hai, ultat hot anek. This literally means that if one car is coming down the road and due to some impediment it turns over, it will become many, meaning the car will break into several parts. That is, the accident will cause the car to break into numerous pieces. The verse contains a pun on the word gadi, which also means an abusive word as well as a car. So in Hindi, gari also means a curse or a bad word, so to speak. Thus, the verse implies that if someone says just one abusive word to you and you react the same way, the whole situation will become a wreck of complications and quickly get out of hand. Just one drop of honey. To gain insight into the chaos that anger and its ramifications can cause, reflect on this humorous parable. Once upon a time, there was a honey vendor who went to a shop to sell his product. While he was negotiating the sale, one little drop fell on the floor, without the vendor or the shopkeeper noticing it. Within a few moments, a little lizard that was in the shop spotted the honey that dropped on the floor and started licking it. The shopkeeper's cat quickly spotted the lizard and pounced on it. Then a dog that had entered the shop with a customer got so excited that he broke away from his master's leash and attacked and injured the cat. Needless to say, the shopkeeper became very angry. He grabbed a stick, banged the dog with it, and broke its leg. This infuriated the dog's owner, who then smashed the shopkeeper over his head. It just so happened that the shopkeeper had many friends and they all got wind of what was happening. The owner of the dog also had many friends and they too heard what was going on. So there was a free for all entertainment, a fight. A tremendous fight broke out and the shop was ruined all over a drop of honey. That spilled drop of honey is like the spirit of krodha or anger, which can cause absolute chaos. Anger and its ramifications disturb the harmony that is extremely important in life, creating tension and discord, hurting others as well as oneself. Hari Om Tat Sat. With this, we conclude our satsang for today. I will see you in tomorrow's satsang. This book, The Art of Positive Feeling, is extremely beneficial in your practical daily life and also in your spiritual evolution. I hope you will continue to join this journey with us. If you're enjoying it, please continue to share, subscribe if you have not already done so, so we can enjoy this beautiful spiritual journey with deep insights and mystical meanings of the scriptures together. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.